Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while now. I'm getting increasingly worried that The Sims 4 is going to go on for way too long. Arguably, it already is, since normally by now we would have an official announcement for The Sims 5, with the release date not too far off, not just some job listings that may possibly be for it or could be for something else. But I'm thinking The Sims 4 might do something unprecedented for the franchise. Have a single installment last for 10 years! A whole decade! I've had a lot of fun with this game, even with its problems, but that's just too much in my opinion. Earlier on in The Sims 4's life, I was thinking EA would maybe do some packs, including the always popular Pets and Seasons expansions, so they could still make a lot of money. And soon after, they would pull the plug because of the game being such a PR disaster. But instead of abandoning the franchise like they did with SimCity, they'd still try to make a new base game since The Sims has been around more consistently in recent years than the city builder that was already dormant for a while. So with how The Sims 4 has become without a doubt the most hated entry in the franchise, to me, it makes sense for EA to get to work on The Sims 5 sooner than they would have planned. That wouldn't have had any initial online multiplayer plans holding it back, and in the end, that would potentially make them more money. However, The Sims 4 is turning 7 years old this September. Something that makes me pretty nervous is that not only one new pack type, but two were introduced during this game's life cycle. Game packs were introduced very early on, which makes sense, but now in 2021, they bring in kits, which to me says The Sims 4 still has lots of life left. I'm sure they could have introduced kits in the earlier years if they wanted to, but they're only doing it nearly 7 years later. What's the point of making kits if this game only had a year or two left? Even though the Sims 2 store only came in around the last expansion pack's release, at least by then we knew The Sims 3 was coming, and it was a more obvious test to prepare to do a store of the same kind for The Sims 3. With The Sims 4, the Sim Gurus still insist that the game will be supported for a long time. Even as recent as the Inside Maxis livestream from late March, the two who were presenting stated they'll support the game for many more years to come. 1 to 2 years does not fit that description. Maybe there's a small chance they meant the franchise as a whole, but I think the chances of that are very slim. I'm sure in the context of that stream, they meant The Sims 4 and nothing outside of that. If The Sims 4 had open neighborhoods, a color wheel for both create a sim and objects, create a world, better quality control over bugs, and a much better launch with more content, then I would be a lot more open to the idea of the game lasting a decade. Eventually, there would be a limit that would be hit, and starting over would be necessary just like with the previous games, but at least it wouldn't need to be done as soon. However, Sims 4's bad launch already happened, so that can't logically be fixed without a time machine. Open world and open neighborhoods have been stated by one of the Sim Gurus as one of the few things they cannot do with The Sims 4 because it's an engine architectural level change that is not possible. We did get color sliders for skin tones and makeup recently, so that's color wheel-esque, but having it available for all aspects of Create a Sim, let alone outside of that for things like furniture, still feels like a stretch at this point in my opinion. Something like Create a World seems unlikely this late in the game. The worlds are structured very differently from The Sims 3's, and you also have every world and every save instead of just one main world with the university and vacation world. So you can't just simply make it super similar to what The Sims 3's Create a World is like. And, well, I think if they were going to do Create a World for The Sims 4, they would have done it by now. With all of the updates and about 40 packs that have already released, I've lost hope for the better quality control over bugs. I noticed things started getting worse around the time of Seasons, and it got worse from there. The Snowy Escape update made so many people's games crash on a consistent basis, and it took multiple patches before that stopped happening. I'm scared to see what will happen when the next expansion is about to release and what chaos that will cause. It's becoming as bad as The Sims 3 in terms of stability. Some, I'm sure, would argue that it's already worse. How much worse will things get by the time The Sims 4 stops getting new content? That's a thought that scares me. Releasing things like bunk beds in a literal, incomplete state doesn't give me much confidence about the future either. If they truly support The Sims 4 for many more years to come, they still need to do better in terms of results. I appreciate the attempts at transparency in recent months, but it's still not enough. Even if they had its lifespan overlap with The Sims 5 for a couple of years, they still need to upkeep the older game too. Improve the core gameplay, fix more bugs, especially ones that are reported most often and have been a problem for a long time. Instead of focusing so much on small niche packs, make some that have been requested for years that are guaranteed to be more liked, which also tend to be ones that have more replay value and are used many times over. Continue to be more transparent with the development process and what to expect in the near future. Continue working with content creators on projects such as the 21st anniversary update and pre-built lots in new packs. That's been a great step in the right direction already. While I think there is a lot of damage that's been done that's basically irreversible because the game's already been out so long, at least doing these things would still go a long way to make things that much better. One specific example of transparency that I would like to bring up are surveys, because we got a couple of pretty big ones last year, and some features from those have come true, but there are still more that are still unfulfilled. There's no guarantee, of course, that all of them will come to the game, but still, I hope more of those things will become a reality, and that maybe this year we could get even more surveys, so then we would have more insight as to what they're at least considering to be working on in the future. I'm not surprised we would eventually see a Sims game be supported for over half a decade, but I wish it wasn't for a game as turbulent as The Sims 4. Like I said near the beginning of the video, I've enjoyed this game. My total playtime is thousands of hours, which I can't say the same for most of my library. I would not spend thousands of hours playing a game that I don't like. I'm not making this video to hate on The Sims 4 or its developers. If I truly thought there was nothing to like or that it's complete trash, then I would have stopped playing a long time ago. I've been playing The Sims since 2001. Of course, it has to end eventually just as anything does, but I don't want it to end at 4. This franchise deserves a better finale, and I would like that to be a solid foundation that can at least come close to The Sims 2 in terms of quality across the board. But in the end, I guess I'm asking for too much.